The 2024 Republican primary is clearly heating up right now. Presidential hopeful Ron DeSantis front and center at an evangelical conference today, touting new policies. CNN's Kristen Holmes has more on the Florida governor's fight to keep up with Donald Trump.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis among a handful of 2024 GOP hopefuls aiming to woo evangelical voters outside Washington, D.C. Monday.
We will never waver in our defense of Israel.
As candidates work to pitch themselves as an alternative to frontrunner former President Donald Trump.
So many people run for office and they promise big things and then they underdeliver on their promises. That's not what we do in Florida. In Florida, we do make bold promises, but we over-deliver on our promises.
As the race to win the Republican nomination heats up, with presidential hopefuls hitting the campaign trail.
As commander-in-chief on day one, we rip out the political agenda out of the military.
And the airwaves this weekend.
And so you're leading people by 50 and 60 points, and you say, why would you be doing a debate?
He should show up at the debates and defend his record.
Some candidates, including Trump, speaking to young conservatives at the Turning Point Action Conference in Florida, taking aim at top rival Ron DeSantis, who skipped the home state event.
I don't know why he's not here this couple of days, but he should be here. He should be here representing himself.
The Florida governor campaigning in Iowa and Tennessee and downplaying Trump's lead in the polls.
At the end of the day, the Bragg indictment just elevated him. There was a lot of sympathy, but then I think just dominating the media coverage. I had gotten a lot of coverage in the aftermath of the midterm election. We always knew with these national polls that was a sugar high.
The money race also coming into focus as candidates filed their latest campaign finance reports. DeSantis reports showing his campaign burning through cash at a rapid rate, raising $20 million, but already spending nearly $8 million, including $1 million each on travel and payroll, and another $800,000 on digital fundraising consulting. DeSantis contrasting his haul with Trump's.
We raised more money than Donald Trump did into his campaign, who, of course, was the former president.
The former president's report showing his campaign raised $17.7 million in the second quarter, leaving it with $22.5 million cash on hand at the end of June. South Carolina Senator Tim Scott just behind him with $21.1 million after raising nearly $6 million over the last 3 months. After announcing his White House bid last month, former Vice President Mike Pence getting off to a slow start, bringing in less than $1.2 million, placing him near the back of the pack. And Wolf, Republicans aren't the only ones making 2024 news. Democratic Senator of West Virginia Joe Manchin was openly flirting with a third-party presidential bid tonight at a campaign-style event in New Hampshire. It was a town hall held by No Labels, which is a bipartisan nonprofit group that is considering putting forward a, quote, unity ticket to give Americans a third option outside of your traditional Democratic and Republican nominee. Now, Manchin insisted that he hadn't made a decision yet, but did not rule out that he would have a run, that he would be part of this third-party ticket. I talked to an advisor just moments ago, a Democratic advisor, who said that this made them very uncomfortable. Despite the fact that Manchin had not yet decided, they said that this would take away votes from President Joe Biden, and even the consideration around that was making him very nervous.
Kristen Holmes reporting for us. Thank you. I want to bring in our political commentators right now to discuss. Scott Jennings and Ashley Allison are joining us. Ashley, how much should Democrats actually be concerned by Senator Manchin's flirting with a No Labels third-party bid?
Well, I mean, if he's just thinking about the idea, as Democrats, I don't think we should get overly concerned. But if he actually jumps into the race, we know historically, if you look back at a Ralph Nader or a Jill Stein, they're favorably in the Democratic party's favor. So I would be concerned if he actually jumps in the race. The conversation of it, I mean, I understand why they think they need to have a No Labels third-party ticket, but right now they aren't actually on a lot of ballots. And so thinking about it is not as bad as jumping in. But if they jump in, I would be concerned with Democrats.
Yeah, it would take away votes, no doubt about that. Scott, in the GOP primary, DeSantis is touting a bigger fundraising haul than Trump or Biden, for that matter. But his campaign is burning through cash big time, maxing out donors and laying off staff. So how should we read these numbers?
Well, I think I would look at the candidates that are going to have enough money to operate and be in the race for a long time versus the candidates in their finance reports that look like they may not be able to make it until the end of the year. Obviously, on the lower end of the Republican scale, Mike Pence, Asa Hutchinson, and some others, they had a really tough time. Ron DeSantis, yes, he did burn through a lot of cash, but between what he has left, what he can raise, and then what's in his super PAC, it's obvious that he and Tim Scott and probably Nikki Haley and certainly Donald Trump, they're going to have plenty of money to operate at least through Iowa and beyond. So, the question for the Republicans, Wolf, is do they want to do Trump or not? And once we clear that threshold, who's left to take on Trump? DeSantis will have the money to be in that conversation.
Ashley, by contrast, President Biden has spent just over $1 million so far and only has 4 staffers on his campaign payroll. Should he be stepping up his campaign by now?
No, I think what the Biden campaign is doing right now is pretty on par with what most re-elections do for the presidency. They're getting their infrastructure together in the summer, having their top leadership in place, focusing on fundraising earlier on rather than building the larger infrastructure. But surely before the beginning of 2024, you will start to see staff in states building that grassroots infrastructure, and then definitely a more robust national committee. But right now, the Biden administration is more focused on governing as the campaign just begins to put its initial infrastructure in place.
You know, Scott, DeSantis is shifting his strategy to a mainstream media tour about policy, starting with our own Jake Tapper tomorrow. But one political expert says, and I'm quoting now, the race is not about who has the best tax plan. The race is Trump, yes or no. Is that true?
Yeah, I do think there's a lot of truth in that. I mean, if the Republican Party, or more than half of it, wants to do Donald Trump again, it really won't matter what Ron DeSantis or anybody else does, because obviously he's going to march to the nomination rather easily. A lot of Republicans say they want to consider other people, but when you look at the surveys right now, Donald Trump is still dominating. So I think Ron DeSantis is doing what he needs to do to keep himself as the principal alternative in the event that Trump becomes too toxic for most Republicans. That hasn't happened yet, but there's a lot of runway between now and Iowa.
Scott Jennings and Ashley Allison, guys, thank you very much.